Russian forces are closing in on Ukraine's capital, and for the first time, NATO deploys its response force. That means sending thousands of NATO troops to the alliance's eastern flank. The NATO Secretary General says the activation involves significant land, sea, and air power. As the world turns its attention to Ukraine, international businesses are adapting to major supply chain disruptions. Local 5's Mary Sugden joins us with a look at the large-scale impacts experts are now bracing for.
Stephanie, I spoke with a Drake professor of international business and strategy. Now, he says before this invasion, the pandemic already had businesses reevaluating how much of their company was reliant on overseas operations. Now that the war has broken out, he believes it could be the start of a major shift.
So many of our Iowa companies have a presence in Ukraine, and they've been monitoring the situation for many months.
Drake professor Matthew Mitchell says for companies with Ukrainian ties, priority number one is ensuring employee safety.
I would imagine most of them have been evacuated by this point.
But as the dust settles and this conflict continues, he believes many companies will take a hard look at how much they rely on overseas operations.
Yes, at Ukraine, yes, at Russia, but also broadening that out to, what are my operations in Eastern Europe? Or is there significant risk to those operations?
Mitchell believes those uncertainties might spark change, a shift toward bringing more work done abroad here to the U.S.
We're recognizing that we need to not only depend on foreign nations for production of all materials.
And that awakening is one Mitchell believes will come with more opportunities here in the U.S., especially for states like Iowa.
That Iowa is supremely well positioned from a cost of labor perspective, a trained and educated workforce, a history in manufacturing and agriculture. Iowa is just so well positioned to be competitive in this nationalized talent market.
And we've been reaching out to major companies based in Iowa for how this is impacting them. Now, we asked Pioneer Seed if it had any employees in Ukraine, and it released this statement saying, in part, the safety of our employees is our top priority. We are also evaluating the impact on business continuity and advise customers to contact their local representative to assess any impact on customer deliveries. We are working hard to keep our employees safe and support our teams. In the studio, Mary Sugden, Local 5 News, we are Iowa.
Mary, thank you. More Iowa companies are worried about employees in Ukraine. ADM is a food processor in Clinton. It has plants in Ukraine that are now closed. Those facilities consist of oilseed and grain. And John Deere tells us they had about 40 employees based at a sales office in Ukraine, but they began evacuations in January. John Deere says it has 300 employees in Russia with one factory and one parts depot. Those remain in operation. The sanctions on Russia and the invasion will have ripple effects around the world. We're already seeing that at the gas pump, but we'll also feel it at the grocery store to a lesser extent.
When you think about these price rises, I'm talking about like for corn and wheat, yeah, that's a big jump in commodity prices, but that tends to add actually a very small amount to our food bill when you think about it at the end of the day.
And Professor Hart says out of every dollar you spend, about 15 cents on average goes back to paying for the agricultural product, 85 cents for packaging and advertising. But for things like meat at the counter, more of the dollar goes back to the farmer, so you may see some higher prices there. We'll keep letting you know how the invasions and sanctions impact your wallet here at home. Use your phone to scan the QR code here to download the We Are Iowa app. Then turn on notifications so you get the latest alerts sent right to you.